The story of when Jesus came to the house of Martha and Mary for supper. Rudolf Vrba's account of his escape from Auschwitz reminds us that even in humanity's darkest hour there are choices that matter. Choices about what we hold on to when everything else is stripped away. His testimony illuminates Jesus' words to Martha in ways that should make us pause and consider what we truly value. Martha was distracted by preparations. In her mind, she was doing what was necessary, providing hospitality, meeting physical needs, ensuring everything was in order. These weren't frivolous concerns, they were the practical necessities of life. Vrba's testimony reveals a different kind of distraction born of survival. In the concentration camps of 1940s Europe, every moment was consumed with the basic necessities of staying alive, finding food, avoiding selection, maintaining enough strength to work. The machinery of genocide was designed to reduce human beings to their most basic survival instincts. Yet even in Auschwitz, Vrba made choices that went beyond mere survival. He chose to remember, to document the horrors he witnessed, to preserve the names and the stories of those who perished. He planned not just his own escape, but an escape that would warn others. Like Mary, he chose something that couldn't be taken away, even when everything else was stripped from him. Jesus wasn't dismissing Martha's work, but he was more concerned about her state of mind and her anxiety, her preoccupation with the urgent at the expense of the important. Vrba described how the Nazi system was designed to overwhelm people with immediate concerns for survival, making it impossible to think beyond the next meal, the next day, the next selection. And this preoccupation with survival is a form of spiritual death. It reduces human beings to their most basic functions and cuts them off from hope, purpose and connection with each other and the divine. The tragedy isn't just physical, it is also spiritual. When people become so consumed with the urgent that they lose sight of the eternal, they become diminished even when they physically survive. Few things are needed, or indeed only one, Jesus tells Martha. What is this one thing? Well, Vrba's account reveals what that one thing looks like in extreme circumstances. Despite the dehumanizing conditions of Auschwitz, he chose to maintain his humanity by remembering not just for himself but for others. He chose to see beyond his own survival to the survival of his people. He chose to hold on to hope when hope was impossible. This choice to maintain one's humanity, to hold on to purpose beyond self-preservation, to remember and bear witness, this is what cannot be taken away. The Nazis could take away freedom, food, family, life itself, but they could not take away the human capacity to choose meaning, even in meaninglessness. Jesus promises Mary that her choice will not be taken. Vrba's testimony demonstrates that this truth powerfully. The knowledge he gained, the purpose he found, the witness he bore, these outlasted the camps themselves. His escape and testimony saved thousands of lives. What began as a choice to remember and resist became a gift to humanity that continues to bear fruit decades later. We may never face circumstances as extreme as Rudolf Vrba endured, but we face the same fundamental choice between Martha's anxiety and Mary's attentiveness. We live in a world that constantly demands our attention for urgent but ultimately temporal things. Making Mary's choice requires courage because it often appears impractical or unrealistic. In a world that values productivity and efficiency, choosing contemplation and relationship can seem wasteful. But Vrba's testimony reminds us what appears practical in the moment may prove worthless in the long run, while what appears practical may be the thing that saves us and others. His choice to document and remember and plan an escape not just for himself but to warn others, to maintain hope and humanity in the face of systematic dehumanization, these choices seemed impractical in the context of daily survival. Yet they proved to be the most practical choices that he could have made. Jesus' words to Martha invite us to live with an eternal perspective. The preparations of Martha were temporary. The meal would be forgotten. Vrba's testimony provides a stark illustration of this principle. The Nazi regime, which seemed all-encompassing and all-powerful and permanent, a 1,000-year Reich, it was promised, lasted but 12 years. The Third Reich was demolished and taken apart and crumbled into dust. But the witness Vrba bore, the truth he preserved, the lives he helped save through his testimony, these have endured and continue to bear fruit. When we choose what we cannot be taken away, we align ourselves with God's eternal purposes rather than the temporary concerns of this world. Mary's choice wasn't just about personal benefit, it was about presence. She chose to be fully present in that moment, to give that undivided attention. In the concentration camps, Vrba chose to be present to the suffering of those around him rather than simply focusing on his own survival. He chose to see the faces and remember the names, to bear witness to the stories of those who were systematically murdered. This ministry of presence became a form of resistance against the Nazi attempt to reduce the people to mere numbers. For us, choosing what cannot be taken away means choosing presence over productivity, relationship over achievement, being over doing. It means being fully present to God, to others, and to the moments that matter most. There's a paradox in Jesus' teaching. By letting go of our anxiety, many things, we gain what truly matters. By releasing our grip on the temporary, we take hold of the eternal. By choosing apparent vulnerability, we find true security. Vrba's escape from Auschwitz embodied this paradox. To warn others and bear witness to the truth, he had to risk everything: his life, his safety, his chance of personal freedom. But in choosing to risk everything for others, he found a purpose that transcended his own survival and gave his life eternal significance. This is the paradox of the gospel. Those who lose their life for Christ's sake will find it. Those who cling to temporary security often lose both the temporary and the eternal. Those who choose the one thing necessary discover that it contains everything they truly need. So may we have the wisdom to recognize what truly matters, the courage to choose it, and the faith to trust that what we choose in faithfulness to Christ will never be taken from us.